Welcome back inside the Now Morning Show. This morning we're chatting with the Ministry of Tourism, Culture and the Arts and UNESCO because they're hosting a capacity building workshop that's starting today and running to the 27th of April. This morning I want to welcome Communication and Culture and Development Strategist, Dr. Deborah Hickling-Gordon, and Daniella Carrington, who's a cultural officer at the Ministry of Tourism, Culture and the Arts. Well, representing the Culture Division, of course.
Yes.
Good morning, ladies.
Thank you so much.
How are you all doing this morning?
Pretty fine.
Really fine. I'm in TT.
Boy. Well, welcome.
Thank you very much.
Tell me, what is the 2005 convention?
The 2005 convention is one of six culture conventions that UNESCO has. That really is a set of standards that are set for the world, global standards that allow for the examination of different areas of culture. The 2005 convention, it looks at the promotion and protection of the diversity of cultural expression. Say that fast. All right. So what all that means is we're looking at cultural and creative industries. Right. We're looking at the balance between expression and production of goods and services. So we always have that tension.
It's a struggle, yeah.
There's always this thing about, should we be focusing more on issues of expression? Should we be focusing more on economics and commercialization? So what UNESCO has done is that they've created this kind of this set of standards that says this is a way that you can look at it so that you can get balance of the two. And they have 5 goals that relate to cultural and creative industries, that relate to trade, but it also relates to freedoms, rights and freedoms, and issues to do with gender and issues to do with diversity.
And intellectual property is also a part of that?
Intellectual property would fall in the commercial element of cultural and creative industries.
Right.
Digital and media diversity is also a huge part of that process. So those are some of the things that we're going to be talking about for the next 4 days.
Well, tell me about the workshop itself. There's a technical assistance or something like that?
Yes. Well, that's why I'm here. So Daniella can tell you why I'm here.
Daniella, why is she here?
So Dr. Hickling-Gordon was actually contracted as our international expert to provide this level of assistance. Now, what we would have done as a ministry is participated in online training last year in September 2022.
But this training was for what?
Was for trying to understand the 2005 convention, its guiding principles, objectives of it, and how do you do the quadrennial periodic report, which parties to that convention have to do every 4 years.
Okay.
Right? And so Trinidad and Tobago had representation from our ministry, Ministry of Trade, Ministry of Social Development, and the Trinidad and Tobago Publishers and Broadcasters Association, a small group, to get a sense of what this whole process entails, because they saw that small island developing states had challenges when it comes to reporting on this particular convention. So they wanted to be able to strengthen government officials and civil societies and how we work together, being able to kind of deal with some of the issues we have, like challenges with data collection, where the relevant information is, capacity building and having the necessary resources, human and otherwise, to be able to do the type of reporting that's required for UNESCO, because UNESCO's reporting is quite detailed.
So we've signed on to this convention since 2005?
Absolutely.
Actually, since 2010, we've signed on to the convention, but we're working now to be able to do the reporting aspect, which parties have to do as part of being a signatory to the convention.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So we're supposed to submit this report every 4 years to UNESCO. Why are we submitting this report? Like, what is the purpose of the report?
It's important because UNESCO does a global report.
Right.
So Trinidad and Tobago will now be included in the global report. Jamaica submitted 4 years ago, and when our minister was launching it the last time, earlier this year, no, late last year, she was able to say Jamaica is included 38 times in the so what we want to see is Trinidad being able to brag. Trinidad is included in the global report 75 times.
Right. Well, I mean, as far as the ministry is concerned, what is the main goal or objective of this workshop?
Well, the idea with the workshop is to help sensitize and raise awareness for and train the national team, which has been formed as a result of the technical assistance that we started to receive last year. So we formed this team that would work together with UNESCO, alongside UNESCO's help, being able to actually develop the report and form this kind of collaborative working group that can work beyond the reporting process, because the report is due on the 30th of June this year, and then you have to count, 4 years later.
Right.
So the idea is to be able to foster a better relationship, working together, to be able to kind of do the work that is necessary.
What is particularly important is that this is a participatory process.
Yes.
What must happen is that the government must work with civil society, must work with private sector,
Right.
and pull together the information for the report, so that it has information coming out of these three groups that will say this is a kind of holistic examination of what's happening in the cultural and creative industries in Trinidad and Tobago. So it's not only, and we don't use the word only really. It's not just the government reporting.
Yes.
It is so that it comes from the soul and spirit of Trinidad and Tobago, which has such a vibrant creative space.
But we also, in that vibrant creative space, right, we tend not to have many organizations that come together to speak up on behalf of the actual creatives. So we have the government.
Thing. And it's something we're trying to encourage, and this is how you start.
Right.
So you get everybody to the table, and I know that Dr. Burke has been working on, and Dr. Burke is a national expert,
right.
and that's very important. That it's really a representative voice that we want to hear. Dr. Suzanne Burke of St. Augustine, and so it's really about bringing people to the table so that they see the value of working together, that they will work together within their own communities and work together. I did Belize a week ago, and coming out of that experience, the individuals in Belize were saying this is the first time that we're sitting around the table with the government and other. They have a kind of very unique situation with indigenous groups here.
Right.
And they said it's the first time that they're all sitting together and coming to see that they have the same problems, they have the same issues, and they have the same strengths.
Yeah.
They have the things that are going well for all of them, but the challenges are also
challenges for everybody. So you're able to say, all right, this is what we need to focus on to help them fix this.
Absolutely. There are recommendations that come out of the process as well. So the recommendations will come from within. So these recommendations will go through the Ministry of Culture, so that it is truly participatory. And Daniella will make some new information. She will be able to gather, kind of bolster her statistics. She might be able to get more people for her registry.
Now, is in the aspect of the government being involved, like, I mean, you've had the experience of working within the Caribbean, right? So I'm curious as to if and when governments change, does that affect the reporting? Does that affect the process? Does that affect anything that you guys are responsible for?
Well, the reporting itself, no, because usually that's a technical process from within the ministries. But the change of governments is always a problem within for the continuity of policy for cultural and creative industries within the region. Thankfully, we have CARICOM that has been very steady.
Right.
They have had a very steady voice, and lots of changes have happened in CARICOM policy as they've pushed forward an agenda for countries to have national policies, for countries to have registries, for countries to come together within the ambit of CARICOM, CARIFESTA, and so on, which you all staged brilliantly.
Thank you.
Like, remarkably.
Thank you. We do that.
I used it in my classes for the video.
And I wanted to come off the heels of what Dr. Hickling-Gordon mentioned there. Trinidad and Tobago has managed to establish a national cultural policy in 2020. We've had a national artist registry for quite some time now, since 2009, 2010. So we've managed to tick a lot of boxes for CARICOM, and being able to then report on it is important for UNESCO and as us being a signatory to this particular convention. And I also want to echo that sentiment from Dr. Hickling-Gordon with regards to people's involvement in this participatory manner. We are working together to identify gaps.
Right.
We are working together to be able to know what policy areas we should focus on, where we can intervene, and use this convention as a diagnostic tool, as UNESCO advocates that it is, so that you can get a true sense of how to address challenges that exist in the creative sector.
Here's my biggest challenge, right?
My goodness.
In speaking with Dr. Burke, she mentioned to me that she had a challenge when she goes to do her research and to talk to people that, she doesn't feel like she's getting the honest information. She doesn't feel like everybody is willing to be as honest as they can be to be able to get the diagnosis done properly. Because nobody wants to look bad, but you don't want to look too good either. So people kind of just give a general thing. And she said that was a challenge that she faced when trying to collect data on the industry.
I think that's when she was doing a cultural mapping.
Before she created the policy. So she was getting that data and trying to get that information, and she realized that is a challenge. How do we get past that block where people, I don't want to give you all my business.
No. I think building trust in this way is one of those things that's important. Dr. Burke is seen as the doyen of cultural policy across the region,
right. Yes.
And so if she's seeing these issues, we have to take them very, very seriously. We see some of them too in other parts of the Caribbean, but it's building trust. That's the most important thing. There seems to private sector, government, civil society. There's always this little
trust issues there.
But once you start sitting around the table, then you start to understand each other. You start to communicate with each other. You see that everybody's really going in the same direction. Might not be may not be on the same path, but we're going in the same direction. Right. And that's important.
And how do we get that direction to now trickle down to the man on the street, to the cultural practitioners?
Well, you see, it's not even a trickle down. What we want the participation from the man on the street. Right. And this is why it's important to have the stakeholders in on the last day.
On the Friday.
All right, so I'm not going to say, tell me how we being a part of it. How can we be part of it? Daniella, talk to me.
We are looking to host a multi-stakeholder consultation at SAPA on Friday from 9 to 12. We are looking at this time, just because of seating capacity, we're looking to have select stakeholders participate in this particular consultation, where they will be able to learn about the convention, learn about the reporting process, and how they can get involved. And then coming out from that, we would open it more so that we can get public opinions and submissions.
Okay,
because what is really important.
How do I get invited to Friday? How does that
work? You're on the list already. You are an established cultural professional and artist.
Pops adapt. Look at me, I reach. No, but is it that it's not open to the public? It's only people who are specially invited.
We are doing specially invited in this instance, but coming out from that, we're looking to host some national training workshops and make it open in such a way that people can make online submissions.
Okay.
Yes.
Regarding the reports that have to be done, is it that all of these stakeholders come together and present one report, or is it a
single report? Daniella is the person who has to press click on the 29th of June.
Yes.
But it comes from all the elements come from within the groups of people, the national team.
And how do I then trust or verify that Daniella is not going to edit this information to make the government look good?
Because a part of that's a very, very good question.
Very good question.
A part of the process is that it has to be verified before we press send.
Yes.
Okay.
So we leave a week where everybody can read it and can sign off, and they can say, okay, this represents what we spoke about, this represents where we're going, and then Daniella can press
send.
There we go.
All right. So you said that was Friday. You told me what's happening on Friday. What's happening before Friday?
Before Friday, from Monday to Thursday, we're having a capacity building workshop, which Dr. Deborah Hickling-Gordon, alongside Dr. Susan Burke, will be facilitating for our national team. So our national team is consistent of ourselves, as well as representatives from Ministry of Education, Ministry of Trade, Trinidad and Tobago Publishing and Broadcasters Association. We have representation from Tobago. And this team is then going to be the ones who are learning about it, sensitize, and then basically disperse amounts on networks to then sensitize CSOs and our partners.
And then take it to the next. Why should the CSOs get involved?
Well, definitely, it's an opportunity to be heard. Understand what the convention is about and how they can contribute. And as Dr. Hickling-Gordon is telling, you get an opportunity to get big up. You get an opportunity once you're featured.
There was a CSO in Jamaica called South Collective, and I remember she came to me when it was launched. The last one was launched, and she said, "We're in the national report. This is a small organization that she built from her bedroom, and it's now a platform. And she's now mentioned, I think, twice in the global report. That's good bragging rights, and that's for projects that have come from your spirit spirit and soul.
And
So-
I think it also would help us in terms of how we position ourselves on the world stage to be able to say we are a big player when it comes to the creative and the cultural industries.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Ladies, I want to thank you very much for joining us this morning on the Now Morning Show and for the work that you're doing. Please continue to do it, and I look forward to seeing to hearing about these reports and what comes out of them as we go forward. Yeah?
Thank you for having us.
Not a problem. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll take a quick break and we come back with more on the Now Morning Show. Stay tuned.